not going to be secure by declarations, which is good. Which is good because it's, we're going to put that. Actually, I like something you mentioned in your declaration in Nice. You said the welfare of the oceans is inextricably linked to the well-being of the communities. And you could have summarized the whole thing in just one sentence, right? I mean, you produced a beautiful declaration, but for me that's the sentence, right? That's what it is, right? But we should not stop there in the declarations, let's say, on the political advocacy level. We need to secure actions in communities, work in networks, right? Use the local hubs and extend the partnerships, right? If we want this blue economy to be regenerative, inclusive, leaving the while behind, it's the same, different language for the same thing, resilient in the future, right? We have to invest in place-based innovation. So thank you very much. Sorry, maybe I took too much of my time, but you did it yesterday, so I'm going back. Thank you everyone for attending and for inviting the local team to the coalition. Thank you. Stay Castro.
Thank you very much. Indeed, Bermeo had a nice place yesterday in the special event organized by Local 2030, and it was a huge opportunity. And that is a showcase on how Local 2030 is the best ally we can have from the hubs, from the territories, to link among ourselves, so Paraná, Hawaii, Euskadi, but also to link at the global level. So thank you very much for being our voice at the multilateralism. We are ready to be part of the renewed multilateralism with one foot on land, one foot on the sea, but the head also looking up. So thank you very much, everyone. We will start now with two roundtables. So the session we will look a bit more on what is this ecosystems of localization looking like in Bermeo, in the Basque Country, in the example of Bermeo, as well as in Hawaii. So I would like to invite to join me for the first part to our colleagues from Bermeo Tuna World Capital, Ignacio Serrats, President of Bermeo Tuna World Capital and CEO of Serrats. I'll look at my, yes. Angel Martinez from Sunival, thank you very much, and Marina Santurtun from AFTI. What we wanted to show here is that from different perspectives and different approaches, working from academia, from the private sector, from the partnership as well, there's this shared vision in which you all are contributing to the sustainability of the tuna throughout the whole value chain from different expertise, resources and capacities that each of the organization is having. So we would like to pass the remote to Ignacio. Our colleague is setting it. So Bermeo Tuna being a pioneer initiative, public-private partnership, leading the world's efforts on the sustainability of tuna. Ignacio, please go ahead and explain us how you're doing that.
Aloha. Thank you for coming. Thank you for Instituto Cervantes and a la Casa Vasca, al Gobierno Vasco. I have a very nice presentation that Maitane made for me, but I'm not going to do this. I don't like it. Because Inigo explained very good. Most of you were yesterday when Maitane explained what is Bermeo Tuna. I will start with phrase. Last is a phrase? Yes. The tuna legacy is born. It's in the song that you are going to listen after, but it's very important. The tuna legacy is born. Bermeo is a port. It's a very important port. We are only 17,000 people living there, but we represent 10% of all the catches of the tuna tropical catches. Very, very important. presentation. General manager of a medium one thing that we love is to see smiling people working. And it's not easy to work in a cannery, but we have smile. It is important to make things more. Every day I go from San Sebastian to Bermeo. It's 1 hour and a half driving. 5 minutes after arriving Bermeo, I see the sea. And in my mind I have to say mercy. I live from this sea. Who is working in this sea? Nobody or the people. All the people who are here, we are working in this. If we think in sustainability, we are working in this. I'm very very happy to say that this medium cannery push a lot the Basque government, the fishermen, to become MSC certification. Our little fishery of Bonito del Norte is one of the tuna. This Bermeo Tuna, why Bermeo Tuna says that is a world capital. It's too much world capital. But we don't like to be the world capital. We believe that if we believe in sustainability, some of the others tuna cities, but if in the world we have a lot of tuna cities, but someone, if you believe in a project, someone must to lead. If we have not a leader, we don't have a project. And Bermeo take the flag to lead this sustainability. But we want to share with all the tuna cities. It's our aim to share. We see that we are a family. We love to be a family. All the 14 members are a family. I have the tie. You see the tie? Look at the other. It's the same tie. It's the tie from his factory. But it's a family. We share. And we are here to ask people to join our family, to fight. To fight is maybe not a good word, but to work for the sustainability of the tuna. A lot of people live from the tuna. A lot of people eat tuna. Inigo told something that can be for our factory. I'm the 5th generation of the factory. When I take the baton from my father, the method of manage the factory of my father was opposite of me. But I thought one thing, what is the best thing? To give the baton to the next generation. What I must do, give the baton to the next generation, and for this, sustainability is necessary. We need to give the baton, we need sustainability. We need fish. If not fish, no give the baton. And I think we have in the presentation all the points of our declaration, but I think it's better to speak, to try to make love to this project. I'm going to give the floor to the next, to my brother.
Brilliant, Ignacio. You stick to the time. You didn't use the presentation, but you stick to the time, and I think you convey the message with heart and with head. So thank you very much. I will give the floor now to Ángel Martínez, Commercial Director of Zunival, which is who is driving innovation and sustainability in tuna fisheries through technology and ethical sourcing. Ángel, please.
Gracias. Thank you. Aloha. Ongetoroi. Thank you, everyone. Very proud to be here in this high political level forum, in this UN side event, but especially representing my company, representing Zunival, and representing the team, the family that Ignacio talked about, because it's a feeling that we have there that is something special. I was really moved by Inigo's presentation, so I will maybe quote you a couple of times, if you allow me. Because what we do is, we are a company that have been working 30 years. This is the tie of the anniversary. This is the reason Ignacio proudly wears today also. So it's 30 years working, and as Ignacio says, we want to be working another 30 years. That's first aspect that is very important for sure. But what is important is that I will try to summarize these sustainability pillars that we understand. It's the sustainability of the ocean, for sure. It's the sustainability of the people who work in the ocean, for sure, as well is important. It's the sustainability of the companies in the long-term view that we need to have always in mind, because it's as Ignacio says, we don't want to get rich today. We want to be working for 30, 40, 100 years. I represent a company that have very deep roots in technology, in industry, but we start to think about sustainability way before it was that cool that is now. So I will start talking, because Inigo says it's about not abstract things. So I bring pure examples, and I'm private sector, so it's pretty cool that private sector bring cool examples of how we can use technology or private investment to make a better way of fishing, okay? We start manufacturing buoys 30 years ago. These buoys are used to catch tuna in a more efficient way, so this is just a contribution in terms of sustainability. But the buoys are attached to an object, and this object in the past were pure plastic. So, okay, we could say, yeah, my buoy is nice, is bringing value because the fishermen save fuel, make more efficient operations and all that, but we cannot leave thinking, okay, but there is an object attached to it that is pure plastic and it's not the best for the environment. So we start to invest 10 years ago, 9 years ago, more or less, in this product. There is the biofat. So we thought, listen, why we are already selling the buoys to these guys, we could also sell this floating part. So let's try to do it biodegradable. Way before it was started to be regulated, we started investing, we started trying materials. It was very complex. We have done several rounds of products. Not all of them worked, but now we have a very good one. And we are in a project together with ASTI, so it's nice that my name is here today. We are in a project together with ASTI, and our product is complying with is fulfilling all the regulations that are in the RFMOs. RFMOs are the members, let's say, that legislate the way we fish. So it's very nice that we have a product that can have two things in mind: sustainability on one hand, but also the industry. Because there are a lot of biodegradable solutions that go sink in a week. And this is not very nice for the industry, because if you are deploying something, you are doing fishing efforts, etc., you want it to last a little bit, at least, for being able to fish. So this is a product that has sustainability in one hand, and also the the industry in our minds. That is very important. We provide SATCOM. SATCOM telecommunications were there for 20 years, but before it was only for sending emails. Not even the crew were allowed to call the families. Imagine spending half a year in the ocean and not can send a WhatsApp to someone. So this is enabler for technology. For sure, we can bring better level of technology if the vessels are connected, but we also do it because we understand that the people needs to be connected. So when they finish their work time, they want to talk with the family as well as we do, because we are all working in the sea, but I go home every day and these guys not. So it's nice if we can bring this technology to all the vessels. Here's our core product, the buoy, and I could talk about how technology is changing the world in the terms of how efficient the fishing is. The customers that buy our buoys are, I'm very proud to say that they are my customers, because the fishing method that we represent is the more efficient fishing method that there is. The level of sustainability, the level of traceability is the biggest one in the industry. So, and that's thanks to technology. But let's think about different things that technology. These buoys detect biomass. Okay, so the fisherman can go there and find the tuna. That's nice for fishing. But think about regulation. This biomass we share with scientific groups and organizations that they check the biomass. So they can say, listen, this is stock assessment. This tuna species is not in danger because there is a lot of biomass below these objects, and there are hundreds of buoys in the ocean that represents this biomass, and it didn't decrease, so you can continue fishing. Or it did decrease. Okay, then maybe we should stop for a while because we are looking for this long term. So this is thanks to technology. And this is the more cool one, the best slide that I have. We were talking about the local, what we can do in a local level. Okay, we manufacture the buoys in Bilbao. We sell the buoys all over the world. But the problem, the challenge, is what happens when the buoys are no longer interesting for the customer. They can arrive to beaches, to coast, and things like that. So we have put in place a number of, let's say, working groups, or we provide works in the ports where we operate. So if we, for instance, are selling buoys in Ghana, Senegal, for instance, in Africa, we have hired local people that try to collect as many buoys as possible, and then they put them in a recycle phase. So there are a lot of people working with that. It's very cool that in Africa we can generate work that is providing value in terms of sustainability. There are some places that, as you can imagine, the recycling is not that easy. For instance, in Guam, Mariana Islands, American Samoa, all these small islands in the middle of the Pacific, they don't have the same structure that we have in Bilbao. They are nicer, but they don't have the same structure. So what we do there is we try to recover all the buoys that arrive to the coast, and then we think in the second phase of let's say living of the product, how we will explode it now. So what we do is we donate, we give it for free to artisanal fisheries or local fishermen that maybe they can use the same level of technology that the industrial ones, thanks to the one that arrive to the coast, and that's nice. They also have these different fishing grounds in the ocean, and they have like the floating device that I told you before that is drifting. They have it anchored. But what happened? Imagine a small-scale fisherman, an artisanal fisherman, and he needs to visit all these anchor flats. This is a lot of effort, and this is not granted that you will find tuna. So if we take these buoys that the tuna industry use, and we put it in this anchored, then suddenly they can choose in a better way. They can say, oh, listen, this is better than all the other 100 that I have. And here start having more free time, be more efficient. So it's bringing technology to the people who cannot afford it. So it's a nice one. And as Inigo says, is about competitivity as well. So what we enable, thanks to technology, is traceability. So the people can know where the fish was caught, if it was following the proper regulation and all the rules, how it was treated in all the way, and how it arrives to the supermarket. For all that, you need technology, and this is the level of technology that we are providing. And if you do that, then your competitive level is higher, because you can prove that the catch is a good one. And previous generations were not that concerned about the sustainability, about the world, about the climate, and so on. But the new generations are. So they will buy the tuna can, and they will say, where was that fish? It was done properly, it was illegal, it was not, and they will compare, and they will buy the proper one. So then traceability, it helps competitivity. So that's where technology can add value as well. We have all these level of initiatives. We call it Circle as a project within our company, because I can talk about technology in all our products, but I can talk about sustainability in all our products. So when we talk about sustainability, we call it Circle. It's a reminder that we work for the sea in a circular way, that we are thinking in the whole life of our products and the impact that they have. This is the reason I put this slide that is very important for us. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Angel. I think it's very relevant to show that fishing also is high-tech, and how high-tech contributes to sustainability, so thank you very much. We'll have Marina Santurtun now. She leads Asti's Fisheries and Oceans Division, and she's expert in fleet dynamics and EU fisheries policy and assessment. So Marina, I'll be giving you my hat.
Yes, I'm moving here on this side. Okay. So, okay, well, I'm going to try to explain you how from science we try to support and address the principles of the International Declaration of Tuna. Although Ignacio and Inigo don't want to focus on that, but we think that the declaration has a lot of very, very interesting words, the wording, and of course the feeling and the believing that is in those words. Okay, so from science, how to approach the sustainability. The most important thing is, if we talk about tuna, is that we need to know how much tuna there are in the sea, and how they move, and how they're going to be in the future. Are there going to be more tuna of this species or another ones? This is just a representation of the warming of the atmosphere, okay, in the last, 200 years. So the first thing is knowledge for science. For science, for what? What for? For trying to predict what we're going to have in the future, okay? At the end, if we need to have a sector, an industry, which goes to fish tuna, we need to know how they're going to distribute and how much they're going to be along the global distribution of the oceans, okay? Of course, I'm not going to explain you this. This is because it was really nice with these animations, okay, with colors. There are going to be winners and losers between the different species of tunas. Okay, some of them will increase in abundance. Some of them will move towards the polar sides. Okay, and other ones will increase in abundance in the more tropical areas. Okay, so science for knowledge and for predicting what is expected to be caught for the companies. Okay, that's very important. So this is how we approach sustainability, looking at the future, of course. Moving to the next one. It's not moving. I'll try again. Oh, okay, I'll point. Okay. What else? Sustainability understood as knowledge in. Okay, within those stocks of the different tunas, you know that there are many species of tunas. There are tunas that are more in temperate waters and in tropical waters. We need to know if all the tunas are the same. Are all of them coming from the same population, or are from different population, okay? So how address this with genetics, okay? New technologies, new methodologies to know how tuna are grow, feed, reproduce, and so on. Why? Because at the end we are going to manage this tuna, okay? What we want is, again, sustainability. We need to know how much we are going to catch in the future, and for that we need to know how they grow, how they reproduce, how many there are, and so on. So new technologies. And again, Angel was talking about the voice and where the tuna is, where the tuna is. Okay, our contribution from the science to this part of the technology is we are able to determine, to specify which are the best fishing grounds for catching the tuna. Okay? But more important than that is that we are able also to say, don't go there to fish, because there are other species which are bycatch of tuna and they are protected species. So we work in both ways. On one side, looking for the competitiveness of the companies to go and catch tuna, and also protection of the species, of those species that are associated to tuna, and you don't have to catch them, okay? So that's another way of supporting the declaration through good management and good catches practice, okay? What else? Well, there you have some examples of some of the devices that we use and that we try to implement on board the companies. There you got some of the tuna companies. These are liberating devices, okay, for bycatches. So for manta rays, turtles, and sharks, and so on. So many of the companies that belong to the tuna, to the Bermeo Tuna agency, let's say, they are implementing this kind of liberating devices, okay? Other way of mitigating the impact of the sector, of the companies, of the tuna companies, is through delivering knowledge on optimization of routes. This is, if you know where you have the fish, where do you have to go to catch them, there are ways to optimize the way to get there, okay? And what is that for? Of course, we reduce emissions and we reduce fuel consumption, which again affects the competitiveness of the companies. So that's another way of contributing to the declaration. Okay, what else? Yes, no, but now it's working. Okay, what else? What else we do? Again, how we support tuna sustainability, the company sustainability, and so on, through information and data. There is no other way to do things. Collecting a lot of information, elaborating that information, analyzing that. Well, here we have an example. That thing that is moving around there is an albacore tuna which was stuck in 2020, I think, and it was like recaptured in 2021. It was 439 days free. And we could see the distance that it was swimming around, okay? And then when we recovered, we were able to determine the growth of that tuna, okay? So this is another kind of methodologies and things that we use. Of course, a lot of technology is in here. First, all the tags that we put in the tuna, then the capacity to analyze the data, the amount of data that is collected in those tags, and so on, okay? Okay, so what do we do with all this data and all these predictions and all this that I've been showing you? What we do is ASTI is present in the most important and in the most relevant regional fisheries management organizations, okay? Angel was commenting on that. And there is where the assessment and management of tuna is decided, okay? ASTI has a relevant role in these RFMOs, because we are chairs of some of the scientific committees. And what do we do there? So, of course, we participate in the governance of the tuna assessment and management. We work with transparency because all the data and information is provided. And also we collaborate. We collaborate not only with the sector, with the industry, which are in there, but also with another scientists and with the NGOs, which are very, very important. Not only environmental NGOs, but other kind of NGOs and of administrations, of course. Okay? So, again, governance, transparency, and collaboration. And at the end, I was telling you, what ASTI tried to do is that the assessment and Bermeo Tuna that we provide, the advice that we provide, is the base to ensure that in the future, the exploitation of the tuna that is being done now is not compromising the resources of the future, okay? That's a bit of the summary. Okay, how much time? Very little. Well, some examples about technology and how knowledge is included in technology. Some collaboration with Nival. This is how we work in relation to control and traceability. And I was talking about the importance of the traceability and the control because of it gives a plus in the value of the cans of the tuna cans. So this is an example of how on board, I was talking before all the time in the sea, but now this is on board, how with technology we are able to recognize the different tuna species and to count them and so on. And very quick, I'm going to the next slide. Para allá. Circular design of fishing gears. Again, we also work with circularity, blue economy, and so on, trying to reduce the use of plastics, both in nets, in ropes, and all the devices that are around the fishing. There is a comment about the biofats that Angel was commenting before. There is a drawing in there. And last but not least, this is a little bit of the carbonization. This is, I'm not going to show you because I don't have time, but a couple of more examples of collaborations with the private sector, very important, and you was talking about that. With Sabat, yes, sustainability. To minimize impacts, once we are in land and the canning industry is working the process of the canning, well, there are some problems with the process of the bonito of the tuna because there are some generation of brines that are depleted, that are full of salt and of organic material and so on. So it's a high water consumption, the water is full of salt, there is a product lost of this organic material and so on. There are some pollution discharges. So we are working hand with Sarats to try to find the solutions to reduce these brines, the amount of brine, to try to recover all the organic part of the water, and try to give it another life, okay, as a pet food or as an energy resource and so on. Okay, so this is a little bit how we try to accomplish with the declaration of the tuna, how the science contribute to the sustainability, and how we want to keep going in the future. I mean, there is very important that knowledge is related to technology and technology with the industry. And that's how we close the circle. And that's all.
Thank you very much, Marina. Thank you to the three of you. While you can take back your seats. While you take your seats, we'll watch a very short video that actually showcases how all this chain of value and chain of collaborations come together for the fishing, for the communities, for the canning sector, and mainly for the sustainability of tuna.
Through the winds and crashing waves, there's a story that we tell. Bermeo Town of courage, where the ocean's secrets dwell. With our ships that ride the currents, and our nets that greet the dawn. In the hands of Bermeo's people, the tuna's legacy is born. Bermeo Tuna World Capital, where the ocean meets the sky. We carry the weight of tradition, with a fire that won't die. From our seas comes the treasure, bringing taste and love worldwide. All crafted with intention, in the Bermeo style. With pride, from all ocean's distant waters to the harbor where we stand, tuna's more than just our livelihood, it's the heartbeat of our land. With a spirit that's unbroken, we work hard and we play fair, caring for the hands that labor sustainably with Bermeo care. Bermeo Tuna World capital. Where the ocean meets the sky, we carry the weight of tradition with a fire that won't die. From our seas comes the treasure, bringing taste and love worldwide, all crafted with intention in the Bermeo style. With pride, from all oceans, distant waters, to the harbor where we stand. Tuna is more than just our livelihood, it's the heartbeat of our land. With a spirit that's unbroken, we work hard and we play fair, caring for the hands that labor sustainably with Bermeo care. Our nets embrace the deep blue, and we cherish every soul. In Bermeo, we forge the future, where sustainability is the goal. Bermeo to the world capital, where the ocean meets the sky. We carry the weight of tradition with a fire that won't die. From our seas comes the treasure, bringing taste and love worldwide, all crafted with intention in the Bermeo style. With pride, our legacy won't fade. We're the guardians of the ocean in every choice we've made. Our nets embrace the deep blue, and we cherish every soul. In Bermeo, we forge the future, where sustainability is the goal.
Thank you very much. We've learned a bit of, the Basque hub and personalizing Bermeo Tuna. We want to know now more about Hawaii Green Growth, our sister hub, together with other territories, in working together and learning on sustainability, on sorry, this is for you guys. On sustainability and community creation and community culture. And please, I would like to ask to join us Major Richard Vincent from the county of Maui, Kalani Kananana, CEO of Hawaii Green Growth, Cooper Long from Hawaii is the youth representative, and Gillian Cristobal from the DASMO coordinator from Hawaii Green Growth. Thank you very much for joining us, and thank you also for being our counterpart, our co-student in this process of being more cohesive and being more sustainable and learning how to do it from these different perspectives. So thank you all very much for being here. I would like to start with Major Rita Bisen. Is that right, Major? Thank you very much. We've heard you through these days in several stages in the UN, in the presentation of the Hawaii VLR, but we would like to hear directly from you, Mayor, on your perspective as public institution, as a community leader, and how does sustainability, ocean sustainability look in the future for you, and how are you advancing, or your organization, how are you leading this process? Thank you very much.
Okay, I don't know if I'm leading it, but I'll just say what we're doing. I think a lot of what you're going to hear from us is about what we refer to as ike kupuna, or ancestral knowledge. So I think what we all know is that what happens in our ocean starts in our land. Starts in our mountain, or what we refer to as mauka, or towards the mountain, because how we take care of our mountain decides how the ocean will be affected and impacted. At least near shore, for those of us that live on islands, all understand this. And the system we use is one called ahupua'a, which is a pie-shaped land division that starts from the mountain and goes towards the ocean. So when we are stewards and good stewards of our land and our mountain areas, that makes us good stewards of our ocean, because eventually all of that goes down into that, and it impacts our reef, impacts our fish, that of course leads to what happens in the deeper ocean. So I just wanted to comment on that specific piece, that I think we all come from that perspective where we have a good understanding that the way we're impacted and the way the ocean affects us is, again, how we as humans take care of our land and take care of our area, our islands. And I think island people understand this concept. But what I'll just say real quick for Maui is, as you know, we suffered a disaster in August of 2023. But from that disaster, as much as it took from us, it also revealed things that we could learn and benefit from. And one of those were there were lots of pilings or cement structures that were in our ocean that was there, to support what used to be structures. Those have since been removed by the federal government, the Army Corps of Engineers, and then having removed those pilings, it restored our beaches, which restored our ocean life and more sea life that came back towards those areas that were not previously being used. I suppose that's a specific example of what's happening in our county or our island. Maybe by way of background, in Hawaii we have 4 counties, so I'm one of the mayors of the 4 counties that make up our state. Most states have more mayors. They have mayors for each city. We don't have mayors for each city, we just have mayors for each county, which happens to be our islands. So the islands I represent are Maui, Molokai, Lanai, and Kaho'olawe, which is 4 of our 8 islands. And the mayors have the other islands. I'm not sure how much everybody knows about our geography or our setup. So there's the island of Oahu, that is the city and county of Honolulu, which most people know, Waikiki, Honolulu. And then there's Kauai and the Big Island. So those are the 4 counties and the 4 mayors. So I think I've said enough.
Thank you very much. It's always good to give a bit of, context information, so thank you on that. We have now Cooper Long, who was also part of OLI at the beginning. He's part of Hawaii's SDG Youth Council. The Hawaii SDG Youth Council is very active, not only locally, which is very important, but also internationally. We've had the opportunity to be seeing some of your colleagues or maybe some of you in different places, and I think that is one of the strong efforts of Hawaii Green Growth, to bring young people to places where decision is made and to bring your voice, but probably it's your voice that we want to hear, so please, Cooper.
Hi everyone, my name is Cooper Long. I'm a rising junior at Kamehameha Schools, Kapalama, and I'm a member of the Hawaii SCG Youth Council. So the Hawaii SCG Youth Council is a coalition of high school students who are really focused on getting engaged in the community, connecting with people, networking, and taking the conversations that we have at the UN in classrooms, in our homes, and really putting into action. So we're a product of the Ka'amaloa pathway. Ka'amaloa is a term that means the twine, the thread that connects us all and is never ending. And so it's a what we call or local level to United Nations pathway, And it starts in 7th grade, where you ground yourself in Hawaiian culture, in our native culture. And then we move to 8th grade, where we learn about how it can relate to the UN, how it relates to global policy, global law. And then in 9th and 10th grade, we actually come here to the UN, we explore the UN, New York City, get experience and exposure. And then in 12th grade and 11th grade, we are advisors to everyone below us. And that is really where we're focused on engaging in with youth, activating them, inspiring them to do what we've already done. So one of the things that we did in 8th grade that kind of opened my eyes was our teacher sat us down, kumpal in the back, and handed us a packet, and he said, figure out how this system works. And it was the events that led to the creation of the SDGs. And so we all put it in a straight line, moving from one event to the next until we reached the final conclusion. And he was like, that's not right, try it again. So we spent like 3 classes working on it, and eventually said, think about your culture, think about your native knowledge, think about your aupua, the pie pieces of land that separate the island. Think about the reciprocal relationships that we have on the island of Mauka to Makai. And he was like, that is the system that creates global policy, that should create global policy, that the SDGs were created in. It's a circular mindset. So he redid it, and he had it in a circle. He said each event connected each other, and he essentially created the SDG logo. And so when I think of sustainability, I think of how SDGs and sustainability is rooted in indigenous knowledge, and it all ties back to native culture, who you are, where you're from. And as a military child, I did not grow up in Hawaii. I grew up all over the continental US, and then came back to Hawaii and really discovered the power that Hawaiian culture has and that the Hawaiian people have, and how powerful our knowledge and wisdom is. And so that's what I try to teach people, is that Hawaii shouldn't be taken for granted, that aloha is our superpower, and how an ocean may divide us from the rest of the world, but the ocean and the isolation is also what shaped Polynesians into Hawaiians and who we are. So that's what I really try to bring.
Thank you, Cooper. Many of us are ambassadors of Hawaii, and we love learning from your voices and your testimonies to become better ambassadors, so count on us. I want to give the floor now to Gillian Cristobal. She's a dashboard coordinator from Hawaii Green Growth. The dashboard is one of the treasures of the Hawaii Green Growth and the localization process in Hawaii, something that is very useful, very tangible, and that I think is quite interesting for other territories like the ones that we're here today to learn from and maybe be able to replicate or accommodate to our reality. So Gillian, please tell us about it.
Thank you so much. And so as dashboard coordinator of the Aloha Plus Challenge, if you folks aren't familiar with the Aloha Plus Challenge, it's Hawaii's 6 local sustainable development goals. So based off of, cultural importance and really what matters to Hawaii, focusing on localization. So we have 6 goal areas, and within those various targets, and one of them is actually our natural resource management goal, in which a lot of SDG 14 falls under. And so as a dashboard coordinator, I focus on all the data behind how are we doing for our goals and our targets. And within natural resource management, we have one target, which is focusing on marine management. The other targets, they focus more on like watershed restoration and our water capacity, freshwater capacity, as well as invasive species and endangered species. But so some of our more recent work, we have what we call the Holomua Initiative. And so that is really being spearheaded by our department or Division of Aquatic Resources. And the Holomua Initiative is taking a collaborative approach to management of Hawaii's nearshore marine waters. And so what that means is that they are going island by island, as Mira mentioned earlier, and working with communities to foster and engage around management plans. So what is important to communities for each island? How do they see government helping to manage their resources? So really focusing on, the different groups that use nearshore water. So like fishing, they're really concerned about, are we going to have enough food to sustain ourselves into the future? So what is their role in helping to co-steward that? And so through this Holomua Initiative, they're starting actually on Maui and then making their way around all the different islands to foster these plans, keep them engaged throughout the process. And so I'm also a part of this group who is, keeping tabs on all this great work and trying to see what is the data that we can track to use to articulate how we're doing, how are we going to measure if we're moving in the right direction. And so also, what are the plans, but also what are the data points to measure behind that. And another cool part about my job, how it intersects across all, another target in the natural resource management is also on watershed restoration. And so we have this other project that's looking more at watershed partnerships and how can we work together to manage upstream, so upland, because everything in the Ahupua'a system, the land division system, it affects one another. So if we take care of our watersheds, it will take care of our streams and therefore our nearshore marine resources. So really exploring more data about the intersectionality and how they support one another in stewardship, and how can we use data to tell a story and through community organizations highlight what they're doing so we can have more collaborative processes for managing our resources. So I hope Hawaii continues to move in that path forward, and that's what I would like to see.
Thank you very much, Julian. I think it's a very interesting way of using data, which sometimes seems very neutral or very objective, but bringing collaboration, traditional knowledge, ancestral knowledge into data and making those links, I think is very, very interesting. I also want now to give the floor to Kalani Kanana.
Perfect.
Not very perfect, but thank you.
Perfect.
I'm getting there. He's the new CEO of Hawaii Green Growth. He's not new to Hawaii Green Growth, but he's a new CEO after our friend Celeste moved to another position, but probably is still very much linked. So, hi Celeste. We'll send her the link of a streaming. Kalani, as the CEO of Hawaii Green Growth, you have this overall task of interconnecting interest, needs, stakeholders. So far, day number 11?
Yes, this is day 10 actually.
Day 10. Tell us a bit more about the whole ecosystem of Hawaiian growth and moving forward to the future.
Sure. Thank you so much. Aloha mai kako, everyone. It's really quite a pleasure to be here, and I want to thank you for acknowledging Celeste, because Celeste set a foundation from Hawaii Green Growth's earliest inception, and really cultivated what I think is the strongest coalition we have to localize SDG implementation. And when I think about some of the core tenets or values or ways that endures today, and hopefully I can carry and evolve into the future, it's really based, I think, first in trust. And how do we create a container of trust to have really difficult conversations? And so I think for me, this panel here really represents also some of how we approach this work at Hawaii Green Growth. We think about our Ledge and Policy Working Group, which is a major component to our work, and so we interface with political leaders like Mayor Bisson and engage their leadership and reaffirm their commitments to the Aloha Plus Challenge and the SDGs and all the work that they do across the county, and then the 4 counties together, and then also our Office of Hawaiian Affairs, which is sort of our indigenous leadership. It's a quasi 4th branch of government for us in Hawaii. And so that collective commitment to co-creating these local solutions is really important. Our SDG Youth Council, they travel with us on purpose. I've told them this 3-4 times already. They're the realization of a dream that was born 40 years ago, to ensure that our youth were raised with these values so that they can carry it on. And so when we think about Hawaii Green Growth, we're also thinking about Hawaii as a whole. How do we raise our leaders so that this work continues? I think about the dashboard as another huge component of our work, because it brings transparency and accountability to the work. It helps us identify gaps, but it also helps us encourage ourselves, because sometimes this work is heavy. Sometimes it's not easy, and sometimes it's easy to get down on ourselves. Many times we're our own harshest critics, but the dashboard has these bright spots that help us see where we're progressing in a good way. And so the transparency and accountability that come from the dashboard, I think, underpin the work. We also have a sustainability business forum where we take CEOs from Hawaii's companies, from the largest to the smallest, and allow them to have peer-to-peer conversations and identify priorities of things that they want to work as the private sector on. And then, of course, our broader network and the work that we do with the Local 2030 Islands Network is how do we then scale that. And so I think all of those are the kind of fundamental pathways to how we do this work at Hawaii Green Growth. I'd like to step back a little bit, thinking about oceans. For many of us in Hawaii, and not just us as Native Hawaiians, ethnically as Kanaka, we are ocean people. Our ancestors sailed on double-hulled ocean-going canoes, navigating by the elements, stars, fish, waves, currents, and found their way to Hawaii. We have teachers who tell us that sometimes we need to visualize the island we're sailing to, and see it in our mind's eye before we know where we're going. And in a simple way, I think that's a lot like the goal setting that we do. We don't necessarily, we're not there yet, we don't have the path yet. We have to follow the right signals and signs along the way, the ho'ailona, these signs that let us know we're on the right course. But we have to visualize what that island looks like. I think also for us in Hawaii, and really more broadly in Moana Nui Akea, which is our word for the Pacific, as island nations, the Pacific doesn't divide us. The water doesn't divide us. Quite frankly, it's the opposite. It connects us. Sometimes at the UN, we hear this idea, and I'm sorry if I offend anyone, Sam in particular, we hear the term small island developing states quite a bit. But quite frankly, we're the caretakers of the largest continent, the blue ocean continent on the planet. And so when we reframe our kuleana, our responsibility, our burden, and our joy, we have a very different mindset to how we approach the solutions that come from it. And then maybe to close with a concrete example, I also want to say that sometimes we have to remind ourselves of our relationship and our kinship with environment. From a Hawaiian perspective, we are the younger siblings of the environment. We're born last in our genealogy. And so when you look back, we start in Po, in darkness, before the Big Bang, and it comes down in a sequential genealogical way to us and humans in the 16th Va, I think. Is it 16-ish? Yeah. And so we think about our responsibility as the younger sibling to our environment, the older sibling. And so when we take care of it, it takes care of us. And so it's a kinship, a true kinship. And so we think about how that then, sometimes we need a break. And sometimes we need encouragement, or we need to get that fire lit beneath us, and we need to get going. And so there's this trade-off conversation that happens quite a bit. But I'm also really proud that one of our collaborators, Mahina Paishan, is with us, who worked with Aulani Wilhelm and a number of others across government and agencies to create the largest marine sanctuary in the world, Papahana Mokuakea. That recharges the fisheries that we use, and the longline fishermen and our fishing or lavaita traditions for us in Hawaii. And so we love tuna too, so let's collaborate. And so, you know, we think about how that all works. And so what I mean to say as a concrete example of action toward implementing and localizing the SDGs is sometimes the solutions are ones where we need to actually remove our impact and create space for nature to do its own thing. And then there's also spaces where we leverage technology and science and data and better practices in caring for people in place and honoring the legacy and the traditions of over generations where we do engage. And then perhaps a final closing thought for me is that, and it goes back to the kinship, we're not separate from environment. Sometimes we find ourselves in conversations on the continent where, you know, you put up a fence and you protect the watershed and you leave it alone. From a Hawaiian perspective, that's a bit odd because we're a part of it and we should be present and we should be there, but we have to walk lightly and we have to step lightly and we have to look where we're stepping and be mindful of that. And so understanding the interdependence and the reciprocal nature of our relationship is really important. And then perhaps on behalf of Hawaii, if I might close with an oli, I'd love to. And what I'd like to ask everyone, whether you're here in the room with us or if you're streaming or watching later, is I'd like to invite each of you to think of a place that recharges your battery. What place brings joy, grounds you, roots you to place, reminds you of who you are and what's important, all of those things. And so while I'm chanting, I'd like you to think of that place, and we're going to call that energy into the room with us so that we might, again, bring this confluence of energy together from, quite frankly, across the globe. And so I'll close with that now, if I might. Is that the end of the panel? Sorry. Okay.
Ka makalai ihi o kailua au akula wala ala I ka hukai kani ka pahu ka pua li I ka pua ke ai mololani o lali mai na va ai kai li kai I ke kai vile o a kanalo ku pa pu mai lau a hiki noho ke a kai ka wainui e I lau hoi ka hoi koa o ka hoi o ka hia ke aloha ua ike. Aloha.
Thank you very much. You mentioned many things. You mentioned the word trust, trust among ourselves, trust among territories, trust among us and nature. This is the International Year of Peace and Trust. I never get tired of reminding us that's what we need. And the collaboration between hubs through local, but through our organizations and each of us within our territories, I think it's very much based on trust. So thank you for bringing that up. Thank you for the four of you. It was a pleasure. I will ask now to Samantha Hub and Maitane Lizaola as our, let's interconnect the hubs together. Please come over. We have the Instituto Cervantes has kindly allowed us to extend a bit more. We're not going to take loads of your time because we know it's a very busy week and we are all tired, but we'll have a short dialogue and interconnect those territories. So thank you, both of you. Maitane, CEO of Bermeo Tuna World Capital, Samantha, Managing Director of Hawaii and Growth. What are the leverage? We've been listening to the different perspectives of the two territories, approaches with connecting points and also different ones. But for each of you, what are these leverage points between both our regions, our territories, that we can connect and that we can look at the future? I've been taking notes, but I know that you two have as well. So Samantha, please.
Aloha. It's so nice to be with you all today and to connect our two hubs. We've been longtime friends and collaborators, so to be up on the stage feels very natural, albeit very formal, considering how friendly it's been. And maybe I can just add very brief context for this informal and casual friendship that emerged a couple of years ago in a coffee shop, but here in New York, that really is Aran's brainchild, but was how can we collaborate? And so that was the kind of initial conversation. And I so appreciate that is really the driving question behind the local 2030 hubs and really this initiative that of course has now become kind of the heartbeat of the local 2030 coalition as well. Recognizing that collaboration and partnership is the driving force behind the localization model, right? It is, and that is what drives forward to Hawaii Green Growth. And while I can't speak for kind of the larger coalition in Basque Country, I would say that you probably agree. And it is building out a shared vision amongst as many people as we can possibly involve towards that shared vision and mission. And what I found so inspiring about our two shared maybe regions, but then of course all the people supporting that within that was connecting first over shared values, shared culture, and then a deep joy and a responsibility and a commitment to that longevity of that joy, right? Of wanting to see that live forward, not just now, but for generations moving forward. And believing that there was, as you were just mentioning it on, like a commitment to trust building within that as well. And where I see that manifesting or materializing within the UN system and within the local 2030 coalition, perhaps is within this lever point of systems transformation. And I say that because I think we at the local level know that what we're doing is working, albeit sometimes slowly, and maybe not at the levels that we want to see higher, and sometimes frustratingly, right? Like we know, we'll come to regional or national or global spaces and folks won't know what we're doing or what our name is. But as soon as they do, as soon as you mentioned this earlier too about the dashboard, folks are like, oh, what is that, right? And get excited about it. And these solutions feel scalable, shareable. But it's other local partners and other places that do get it, right? They're like, that would work for me. And it's the same way when we talk about sustainable value chains or innovations coming out of the private sector. It doesn't matter what sector it's in, it's working. And it's other local partners that understand that. And a conversation with our mayor earlier today said that, once the appetite or the dust is ready to ask good questions and you're able to receive the good questions, once you know your context context enough to be able to ask those good questions and are able to receive them, the local partners are the right people to be able to go to. And so that subnational or that local diplomacy, those relationships are going to be so meaningful. And that's really, I think, where the heart of our partnership lies. But in the point I was making about the systems transformation is that I think that we all know that we've got 5 years to 2030, and that 2030 is not the expiration date of this work, right? And not even just of this work, but of the UN system. So what's next? And I think we know that the system itself is going to have to evolve, and we want it to. Do we want the UN to exist, or the sustainability landscape to just exist as it is? Probably not. Probably we want to see it to be better and brighter, and I know our youth council over here has a great vision for the future, and I would love for it to be guided and shaped by them and by a youth council, perhaps that comes out of the Basque Country as well. And so I would like to see the systems transformation be shaped at the local level, but guided by our culture and values, by an SDG 18, perhaps, that I know you also have as well, a revival of local language, and note that it's like deeply, deeply guided by a love for place, a love for people, a love for the ocean, and a love for, and a commitment to the joy that sustains us all, knowing that there will never be people that care for local prosperity more than local people themselves, right? So investing in local people is the most important thing that we can do, and we can do it together.
Wow. Please clap for her. Well, arratsaldeon, buenas tardes, aloha. Well, I'm really honored, and it's so nice listening to you. I always say that for us, Hawaii is a place, a territory from which we can learn a lot, so much. We feel really honored to share this stage with you, because yesterday we said that and today our president said that we come from a really small town, and we are proud of our territory, our identity, our ancestors, what we do, how we do. And especially, we do think that even though we come from a small place, we can create a big wave starting from Bermeo that reaches all the oceans. And for us, Hawaii is a good example of how you are working, guys. I think that you are inspiring for us. The first time I met the Hawaii Green Growth was when Celeste came to Bilbao, and sharing conversations with her was totally inspiring. It was meaningful for us to understand how the China value chain could contribute to the localization of the SDG agenda. And it is about taking consciousness about how doing business in a responsible way with the oceans, with the species, with the people, and also with the territories is just contributing to the general and the global development agenda. And actually, we didn't realize of that. We were actually Basque. We did. That's how we do. We just work, and we take care about working as our ancestors teach us how to do. Being fair, being responsible, thinking in the future. We began being a sailoring and a fishing territory. I would like to be that in the future as well. And we love being modern, sustainable, innovative entrepreneurs, because that has to do as well with our DNA. And I think in that sense we connect a lot, because the sea, and you said that the sea is not something that, the ocean is not something that separates us. The ocean connects us with everybody. And in the end we are working in the ocean and with the oceans. And the ocean has the treasure that makes our livelihood. So that's our sin. So how do we connect? I think that the best thing of this kind of spots is that we have the opportunity to meet other people, to learn from one and each other. I think that, for example, the work you are doing, guys, with the dashboard is really inspiring, and I would like to take that model to apply to the China value chain, because that's one of the things we are trying to do right now with the Bilbao Blueprint system we are developing at the moment. And systematizing and taking accountability of how we are going forward in each of the chains of the value chain is very important to push forward in the sustainability, but also to improve the way we are doing business for the people, for the territories, and for the sustainability of the ocean. So thank you very much, and let's keep doing together.
Thank you, you two, very much. We'll make this very brief. I'll ask you to stay, and then I will invite Isone Soroa, Director of Fisheries and Aquaculture from the Basque Government, to give the closing remarks. Thank you, Isone.
Thank you, Arantza. Good afternoon, everyone. Arratsaldeon, aloha. So before I start with the wrap-up, I just, of course, wanted to thank you, everyone, for your time, your insight, your collaboration, and especially to address my special thanks to the organizers, the local 2030 agenda, Euskadi 2030 Hub and its members, and of course Hawaii Green Growth and all the members. Also, I will to address special thanks to the Basque Government Office delegation here in New York that has made our landing very soft and very easy for us to immerse in this multilateral ecosystem, quite new for us. Today, I think we have learned from two different successful stories, case studies, that despite being originated in very different realities and context, at opposite ends of our world, planet, even though we share the same sea, ocean. I think that both stories share objectives and place-based approach, and I think that if they unite, if we can reach to unite diverse efforts to a common way of working, I think we can reach our objectives and learn and get good projects from deeply rooted projects in our communities, okay? The discussion today about how to implement or localize this SDG 14 agenda has underscored just how critical sustainable marine resources management is, not just globally, but at the local and regional levels where real changes start. For us, it's also an evidence that if we want to advance in the implementation of the blue economy, that I think it's, at least for us, that regional, as the public government, it's quite inspiring, and we think it's an opportunity. That requires more than just innovation and investment. It's going to require more inclusive, multi-stakeholder collaboration and a strong commitment to territorial and place-based approaches. We also want to recognize the effectiveness of multi-level collaboration in governance to ensure policies that are not only well-designed, but are also well implemented in a responsive way to local realities and ecosystems. I suggest, and just to finish, to move forward, to keep building on today's momentum, our collective actions rooted in local context, informed by science and strength through partnerships, can ensure the marine and coastal ecosystems are presented and used sustainable and are preserved and used sustainably for generations to come. I would love to insist in collaboration as a key. Let's continue working across departments, sectors, companies, science, and our communities, of course, to build resilient coastal economies and ecosystems. What we do locally can serve as a model globally, that's for sure. I think this couple of days, 3 days we've spent here in New York, it's the first phase of our mission here during the celebration of high-level political forum. I think I could say it has been accomplished. However, I think also that it's just the beginning for us. We still have a lot to cover. We are confident, and I think we have bring a unique and very singular proposal to the table. A proposal with a lot of potential, and hopefully it will be widely talked about in the coming months. We believe this forum provides both the appropriate setting and the perfect timing to present it. Let's take advantage of what has happened in New York today and move forward. Before I finish, I just want to thank you all once again. Thank you for your time, for your insights and dedication. Let's stay connected as we turn today's dialogue into lasting impact. Let's make sure to follow up on the action items and stay aligned on the next steps. Thank you again, and I'm going to rephrase you, rise up and move forward. So thank you and have a good rest of the day.
A bit out of program, I will give a mic to Maitane to explain one thing that you have all received, and also to make an invitation next year in the Basque Country. Yeah?
Okay.
I think it's time for invitations.
Okay, just one little thing. All of you have received this scarf in your bags. I would like to say that this is a traditional sailor neckerchief. This is something more than a cloth for the fishermen, for the local fishermen. It has become a symbol of identity, community, compromise, and it is also like a way to honor all those people who are working in the sea, catching tuna, fishing, and taking care of the ocean in the Bermeo style. So I would like to give it to you with my pleasure, and invite you all next year to come and share with us the next Bermeo Tuna Forum, which is going to be held in the second term of the year, probably dates to be announced, so be attuned. And it's going to be a huge spotlight to know a little bit more about how we are pushing forward in the tuna sustainability all over the world, and to join forces to make it better, because we need all the support, all the alliances to make the work think and work in a sustainable way for the people, for the planet, and also for the economies and for the territories. Thank you very much. Eskerrik asko. Mahalo.